Hello students, this is our second session in federalism. In our last session, we have discussed about what is meant by federalism, what are the main key features of federalism, why maximum of countries are following federalism. So actually, the term federalism is derived from the Latin root foedus, which means formal agreement. What is meant by formal agreement? Formal means official dealings between different levels of government. Means interrelationships between the states as well as the central government, what we called as federal government. So finally, federalism is a system in which the power is divided between a central authority and various constituent units of the country. So here, what do we call a federal country? In India, as we discuss central government or unitary government, what is the difference between central government and unitary government? In this session, we are going to discuss. This is our Indian parliamentary system. In Indian parliamentary system, it has a president who is the head of the state and PM head of the government. The PM cabinet ministers and the administrative machinery comprises our executive branch. So along with president, our Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha members we call as Indian parliamentary system. So the PM executive branch comprises of the PM, cabinet ministers and the administrative machinery, which is we call as the government. So this government is accountable to Lok Sabha, could initiate non-confidence against the government. Means to make any bills or to pass any new laws, the majority of the decisions made by Lok Sabha. If once Lok Sabha passed any bill, there is no right to Rajya Sabha to cancel the bill. If they are not willing to pass the bill, they can consider for a minimum changes in that bill. Again, they send to the Lok Sabha. So Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha together we called as a bicameral legislature system. So bicameral legislature system, we have two houses in our parliament system. So in our India, 6 states are following bicameral legislature. Rest of all the assemblies, they are following only one house system, assembly system. So in Andhra Pradesh, we are following bicameral legislature. So that I explained in our previous class that in our assembly we have Vidhana Sabha as well as Vidhana Parishad. So this legislature executive branch together, legislature means who are making laws for our country purpose, nation purpose, legislature administration system and executive branch who implemented the law and order for our nation's purpose, which consists of our president and prime minister, cabinet ministers, all together we called as our Indian parliamentary system. So this is the major thing for any federal government to make any laws or to share the powers between the levels of the governments. The main thing is our Indian parliamentary system, and which allows all the people to get beneficiaries. Students, while explaining the lesson, open your textbook and observe each and every part of the content carefully. See here, this is federal political system. All red marked here, you observe Russia, Australia, India, Pakistan and South Africa, Nigeria, Brazil, Argentina and United States of America, Canada. So almost all maximum the big countries of the world are following federal form of governments. Even I explained that in India also we are following federal form of government. See here, through only 25 of the world's 193 countries have federal political system, up 40% of the world's population. Most of the large countries of the federal world are federations. Can you notice an exception to the rule in this map? So if you observe 25 of the world's countries out of 193 including India are following federal political system, but that 25 countries consisting 40% of the world's population means the vast populated nations feels better federal government is best form of government for their easy administration. So that in India also we are following federal form of government children. See the textbook. Some Nepali citizens were discussing the proposals on the adaptation of federalism in their new constitution. This is what some of them said. So here Nepali citizens, as you know that very recently they got adopted their constitution, so that the people are discussing to follow federalism in their country. So some almost all people are discussing each other about whether the federal government is beneficial to them or not. Sima. So Kagraj, he's saying about, I don't like federalism. It would lead to reservation of seats for different caste groups as in India. So he's here Kagra saying that he don't like federalism because in federalism it leads to the reservation of seats for different caste groups as in India. As you know that in our country, like in jobs or in education system or for any election procedure system, we are following reservation system. Means equal priority for development of the all community people, religious people or caste people. So it is possible only in a federal government. So that here Kagras feels that he don't want federalism, he don't want to share his equality to others, means reservation of seats to other community people. But in India, we always suggested and supported reservation system, and here where all community people are getting equal priority. And one more girl, Sarita, he is saying ours is not a very big country, we don't need a federalism. So as just we discussed that a vast country like India with more population, federalism is a best option for easy governance. So that's Sarita saying that federalism no need in our country because our nation is not a big nation with a huge population. And one more here, Babulal, he is saying that I am hopeful that the Terai areas will get more autonomy if they get their own state government. So here one more person, he supported federalism because some area people with less resources, they may get better opportunities, some priorities available for the less developed states or places. So that Babulal supported federalism. Next come to Ram Ganesh. I like federalism because it will mean that powers that were earlier enjoyed by the king will now be exercised by our elected representatives. This is the main important major part of the federalism. In federalism, Ram Ganesh likes federalism because earlier how all the major decisions were taken by king In a representative system, in a representative federal government like India, all these powers exercised by our elected representatives. For example, Prime Minister. Who is Prime Minister? Our elected representative. And our Chief Minister. Who is Chief Minister? Our elected representative. Our ministers, our MLAs, or our MLCs, mayor, including our village sarpanch. All are our elected representatives. So who have the major power here? The elected representatives are enjoying major powers, and so they know the problems very clearly. What are the problems faced by present situations? For example, already we discussed in our previous class. So in this COVID pandemic situation, how the central government they helps, they allotted some funds to the state governments. They given very clear guidelines to the state governments, and state governments passed all those guidelines to the local self-government. They allotted different helps to the people, maybe through the funds or the rice or whatever, but it is possible only in a representative system, means democracy. Only democratic government always ensure the welfare of the people. If we are not satisfied with the present government, we have the better chances to change our government in the next coming elections. So that because of these important reasons, majority of the nations are following democratic form of government. In that we are following federal system. In federal system, powers distributed between the levels of the government. Next, if you were participating in this conversation, what would be your response to each of these? Which of these reflect a wrong understanding about federalism? What makes India a federal country? Now we are going to discuss about what makes India a federal country. There is no doubt at all. India is a federal country. Now we are going to discuss. What makes India a federal country? Isn't that strange? Did our constitution make us not know about federalism? Or did they wish to avoid talking about it? Now we are going to see. We have seen earlier seen how small countries like Belgium, power sharing, our first lesson, and Sri Lanka face so many problems of managing diversity. What about a vast country like India with so many languages, religions, and regions? Once I explained briefly about the Belgium accommodation. So as you know that in Belgium, Dutch people are there, Germans are there, Dutch speaking people, German speaking people, as well as French speaking people. In Sri Lanka, 80% are Sinhalas. So they won't accept to share their power to other people like Tamilians, native Tamilians as well as Indian Tamilians. So those are very small countries if we compare to our country. But even though they are facing lot of problems. What about a country like India? You see, in our country, how many languages are there? Among them, how many are identified as official languages of India? So nearly 1500 plus languages are using by our Indian people, including tribal languages. Many religions are there. Number of times we discussed in our class. So what is the proportion of Indian religions? So what is majority religion? Which religions are considering as a minority religions? So what are the other other things we are providing to the minority communities in our country. All the things we discussed in our classes. Now, what are the power sharing arrangements in our country? I said power shared between the levels of the government, power shared between the organs of the government. Now we are going to discuss about those arrangements in our country, how the power shared between the levels and how the power shared between the organs. Observe textbook carefully, children. See here. Let us begin with the Constitution. India had emerged as an independent nation after a painful and bloody partition. Soon after independence, several princely states became a part of the country. The Constitution declared India as a union of states. Although it did not use the word federation, the Indian Union is based on the principles of federalism. So here they clearly mentioned in our Indian Constitution. In India, we are following Indian Union is based on the principles of federalism. Is it clear? Principles of federalism. What is the difference between federalism and principles of federalism? In our constitution, they never mention about India is a federal country. But we adopted and we are following federal principles. So in the coming sessions, we are going to know the difference between the federalism and principles. Let us go back to the 7 features of federalism mentioned above earlier. We can see that all these features apply to the provisions of the Indian Constitution. The Constitution originally provided for a two-tier system of government. Actually, the Constitution originally provided for a two-tier system of the government. What are the two tiers of the government? One is union government, first government, and the second one is state government. Two tiers. Initially, we have adopted only two-tier system, union level or central level, and the second one is state level. So we are following two-tier system of government. Next, the union government or what we call the central government, union government also called as central government, representing the Union of India and the state governments, which means this is a central government is the head of the nation and all the state governments works under the guidelines of our central government, what we call as a principle of federalism, power sharing between the levels. Later, a third tier of federalism was added in the form of panchayati and municipal. So as you know that what is the population of present in India? So nearly 136 crore population is living in India. So that a big only our central government alone or only our state government alone, it is not possible to give better governance to its people. For easy governance, now our state governments again divided into three-tier federalism, what we called as a local self-government, which consists of panchayatis, municipalities and corporation. Together we called as a local self-government as our third-tier government. As in any federation, these different tiers enjoy special jurisdiction powers. Means already in our first class we discussed about that any central government rule entire nation, state government rules its entire state people as well as local self-government rules its entire area people, citizens, so that each and every level of government they have their own jurisdiction powers, but they finally have to obey the constitution. And the constitution clearly provided a threefold distribution legislative powers between the union government and state governments, so that to safeguard these powers our constitution provided threefold distribution of legislative powers. So what are they? Now we are discussing. Before that, once again, I remind you what are the key features of federal government. So there are two or more levels of government. And second one is each and every different level rules the same citizens, but each tier has its own jurisdiction, powers in special matters of legislation, taxation and administration that we discussed in our first class. The jurisdiction of the respective levels of tiers government are specified in the constitution, only, so that the existence authority of each tier government as constitutionally guaranteed. So whatever the decisions made by our local present government or our central government, all according to our Indian constitution only. Next, fourth one, the fundamental provisions of the constitution cannot be unilaterally changed by one level of government. Such changes require the consent of the both levels of government, and courts have the powers to interpret the constitution. And sixth one, sources of revenue of each level of government are clearly specified too. This is very important one. Sources of revenue to run the government. So for administration purpose, for providing facilities to the people, we need revenue. So that sources of revenue for each level of government, for state levels and as well as to the central levels governments, it is clearly mentioned in our constitution. You see here. Next one, the federal system thus has dual subjects to safeguard. What is the first one? To safeguard our unity of the country while at the same time accommodation of different people. So these are the main 7 key features of federalism and what we adopted in our India. Principles of federalism. Observe this one clearly so that you came to know easily what is meant by unitary system, what is meant by federal system and what is meant by a confederation. You see, as we discussed, you see here unitary system. In unitary system, national government is there. Under the national government, state government is there. So, concentrated power with centralized authority, which is nothing but our national government. That is unitary system. Next, coming to the federal system. In federal system, people are playing main role. So both state government and national government have equal powers. But these both are under the control of the people. So divided power authority with the people. Next, coming to the confederation. Here state government, under the state governments, national governments. So divided power between them. If you see, India is a following unitary form of government. So where national government is centralized and rest of the government works under the control of the national government. If you observe, this national government is elected by our people. Means we are the people. By participating in elections, we choose our representatives. Our representatives only forms our government. So India is India following unitary system and we are adopted federal principles. Understood clearly? So that is the difference between central government or unitary government and a federal system. We are following federal principles at the same time. In India, we are following union government or central government system. This is our administrative structure of India. Government of India means central government. Under the central government, state government. State government is divided into districts. Jilla Parishad for entire Nellore district as a Nellore Jilla Parishad. So this again Jilla district is divided into mandals, blocks, what we call as a tehsils. Our Tahsildar. Mandal level and then village level, panchayatis. So if you observe here, central government for easy administrative purpose divided into state government. Again state government is divided into divisions, what we called as our districts. Again our districts is divided into blocks, tehsils, mandals and villages. This is one session. Now coming to the governance. So here the major cities are divided into municipal corporations, Mahanagar, and the towns are called as panchayatis, municipalities, towns, and third one villages. So these corporations and mandals, municipalities and our villages is divided into wards. Each and every ward we have elected one representative who is like our ward member. All ward members together, they choose their representative as a head of the village, sarpanch, as a head of the municipality, municipal chairperson, and head of the municipal corporation, mayor. So these are what we call as a local self-governments, three-tier system. Understood? So government of India central level, state government, each and every state has one state government. And again that state is divided into divisions, what we called as districts or Jilla Parishad. That Jilla Parishad, the districts again divided into mandals, tehsils and then villages. So these districts for easy governance is categorized into three tiers. One is municipal corporation, city level, municipality, town level, and village panchayati level. So level wise from village and municipality, municipal corporation all together as a district. Some districts formed as a state, some states formed as a country. This is what we called as a unitary system. States together form as a single nation is a unitary form of government present what we are following in our India with federal principles. Understood clearly? Now, so already in our constitution they mentioned about the revenue sources just before I explained you. Revenue sources. So how to get revenues? What are the main sources of revenue for central government? What are the main revenue sources for state governments? You see, here our constitution divided three types of revenue sources and decision making powers to our government. The first list is union list. in this union list has subjects of national importance, which is very crucial, confidential, and which needs major revenue, which needs a huge investment. So those all confidential things are under the control of the union central government. So it has subjects for national importance. Next, coming to union alone can make laws. Means regarding these items, regarding these subjects, the entire ultimate power only for central government. So there is no right to state government and there is no right to any other. Only central government alone can make laws. Central government itself or parliament. Next, so some examples in this: defense, banking system, currency, Reserve Bank of India, and foreign affairs and communications. So if you observe our defense, it is very confidential for our security. And banking system is related to money matters. So entire our currency minting are about the values, about imports and exports. Everything is done by our central government only. And foreign affairs dealing with other nations. So as you know, each and every country we have our own country ambassadors to help the people of our native Indians in respective places. And then communication like our ISRO, our telecommunications, our channels, satellite rights, everything is under the control of the union subject only, means our central government. Next, coming to the state list. Some powers given to states regarding. So these subjects mainly related to the local and state importance, not bigger units like. So in this, state government alone can make laws. There is no interference of central government in this regard. So if you observe these days, even our central government given some powers to our state governments, but with the proper care of the people. So some important things in this are police departments and trade activities, commerce and agriculture, and related to irrigation. So water facilities to the local people for their agriculture, and minimum selling price of local products, agricultural products. These all the things are under the control of the state governments. Okay, ma? Next, coming to the concurrent list. Concurrent list means some subjects are linked with both state government as well as central government. In this regard, our state government plus our central government together take some decisions. So these are the common interests of both center and state. So regarding this, both the center and state government can frame the laws. Union list includes the subjects of national importance. What are they? Just we discussed: defense of the country, foreign affairs, banking, and communication and currency. These are enough. Only few examples. So this union list consists of how many? 100 items. Present earlier it is only 97, on which the parliament has exclusive power to legislate, including, see here ma, defense, armed forces, arms and communication, atomic energy, foreign affairs, war and peace, citizenship. Like our present all we are Indians. We have Indian citizenship and we have our own unique identity card also, UID, like our Aadhaar cards, PAN cards, issue, so income tax. These are all under the control of the union list only. So extradition, railways means, so Indian railways, there is no state railways. Is it correct? Yes, we have only railways under the control of the central government, like shipping and navigation, airways, post office, post and telegraph, telephone, wireless, broadcasting, foreign trade, interstate trade commerce, insurance, control of the industries, permissions to the big industries, and election procedure and audit, income tax. So even our Supreme Court and High Court Commission, custom duties. These are the few examples for our union list. So here you have to do one activity, list out all the union list, state list items as well as concurrent list items. Then only you realize the importance of the central government, state government, and which things are made for welfare of the people. So here once again I am repeating, see here. So union list is a subject which is related to entire nation. Our central government alone have the exclusive powers to make any decisions regarding this union list. So some examples here given, children: defense of India and naval military and see arms, firearms, atomic energy, mineral resources, industries, and the Central Bureau of Intelligence and Investigation, CBI, and detention, foreign affairs. These are some examples for our union list. Next, coming to the state list. In this state list, so what are the things included? Almost all you guessed. What are the things included in this map? State list contains the subjects of state and the local importance. Local importance means just before we discussed about our local bodies, district level, mandal level, and village level. Understood? So these are the things which are under the control of the state list. So in these examples also given, like police, agriculture, irrigation. So regarding these subjects, the state governments alone can make laws relating to the subjects mentioned in the state list. So here some, how many are there? 61 items are there present. How many? 61 subjects are there under state list. You see, whereas in central list nearly 100 items are there, but a few are there. In state list only 61 are there. So this is uniformity is desirable but not essential on items in this list. What are they here, Seema? Maintaining law and order, police, healthcare of the people, transportation to the people, like our APS, RTC, and land policies, electricity facilities to the state, village administration, like allotting village revenue officers, village administrative officers, mandal revenue officers. So these all the things are under the control of the our state government list. So here who have the powers means the state legislature. So our MLAs, our ministers, and our chief minister with the prior information to our governor, so can make these new laws regarding this state list. So in certain circumstances, the parliament can make laws on subjects to mentioned in the state list, but so the Rajya, so entire country. So only some which has the major priority for the welfare of the people. So in that cases, sometimes our so parliament also can make some laws. Next one, those states have exclusive powers to legislate with regards to these items in the article in our Indian Constitution. Article 249, 50, 52 and 53 mention situations in which the Union government also legislate regarding this state list. Means state list, regarding state list subjects, states have the lot of powers, but even though if the central government feels it is necessary to interfere or it is necessary to take some decisions related to state list, those decisions also declared by our central government. See here, the state list or list 2 is consisting of 59 items present, because some are 60 just before I discuss that present 66 items are there, in that some were 52 and 55 deleted, so because they feel it is not mandatory in the state list, so that the 2 will be deleted. These all mentioned in our 7th schedule of our Indian Constitution. Next, if any provision of a law made by the legislature of the state is repugnant to any provision of law made by Parliament, which Parliament is competent to enact, or to any provision of an existing law with respect to one of the matters enumerated in the concurrent list, then the law made by Parliament, whether passed before or after the law made by legislature of such state, or as the case may be, the existing law shall prevail, and the law made by the legislature of the state shall, to the extent of the repugnancy, be void. So, if any laws made by the legislature of the state earlier, and if that one is repugnant, if any provision of a law made by the Parliament, then which is ultimate, even whatever the law is made by Parliament is ultimate, because parliamentary is the highest lawmaking body of India. If any decisions made by state governments related to state list, it doesn't matter, but the ultimate powers enjoyed by the Parliament only. These are the examples of our state list. So you find out all very clearly. So how many provisions are there present? 56 provisions are there in our present state list. So you can read each and everything very clearly. So which things comes under state list? Next one, third one. What is the third list? Concurrent list. Concurrent list is the subject which is related to entire nation, but it is the subject related to both state government and as well as central government. So in this regard, who will take, it includes the power to be considered by both the union and the state government. Both the government will take the decisions related to some items present in this. How many are there? 52 items are there. Present how many are there? 52 items are there. And but last item is numbered with 47 only. Means some subclasses are there in this. So including those all subclasses, it will come to 52. So uniformity is desirable but not essential on this list. The list mentions, what are they? Marriage and divorce, registration of marriages, legal divorces with the help of law and order, and transfer of property other than agriculture, land, education, contract, bankruptcy and insolvency, trustees and trust, civil procedure and contempt of court, adulteration of foodstuff. So any like consumer rights, adulteration and then drugs and poison, economic and social planning. So economic policies, budgets are giving in this. So these all labor welfare of the people, electricity provision, newspapers, books, printing, etc., stamp duties. This all comes under concurrent list, which is very important, but which is related to both state list as well as union list, what we call as a concurrent list. In this regard, both the state and central government can participate to take any decision. These are the things which are included in our concurrent list, so that you can read very carefully and find out. So I explained all what are there. Another important one is residuary subjects, means which are not covered in central list, means union list, state list, and concurrent list is considered as a residuary subjects, other subjects. So in these subjects not mentioned, if any three lists are known as residuary subjects. However, many provisions in the constitution outside these lists permit parliament and then state legislative assembly to legislate. Excluding the provisions of the constitution outside these lists per article 245, the power to legislate on subjects rests with the parliament exclusively per article 248. So these are some subjects, provisions in our parliament. So in our constitution, in article 245 and in article 248, they clearly mention about the residuary subjects. So what kind of objects have to be included in this residuary for files or the subjects, everything included in our constitution. So parliament shall legislate on residuary subjects according to following the article 368 procedure as constitutional amendments. So already in our previous classes also I discussed about the amendments. So according to the present situations, we have the right to modify our constitution. We can amend our constitution, we can add the new laws, and we can adjust the previous laws which is not useful nowadays. And if we need any additional, so those all included in our constitution, also what we call as a amendments. So these are amendments done according to the 368 article. In case of above lists or be expanded or amended, the legislation should be done by the parliament under constitution power per article 368 with ratification by the majority of the state. So that federalism is a part of the basic structure of the Indian constitution, which cannot be altered or destroyed through constitutional amendments under the constituent powers of the parliament without undergoing judicial review by the Supreme Court. So that as we discussed, according to article 368, we have the power to amend our constitution, but we don't have any power to change or to amend our Indian constitution related to the basic structure of our federalism and federal principles. So only if we want to do anything, so who has the power? Supreme Court has the power according to the situations. Even parliament also don't have any power without consulting Supreme Court. They don't have any right to take any decisions regarding these federal principles. So once observe this one: central government, state government, concurrent central and state government together. These are the example what we discussed earlier. So central government has the power to make laws regarding union list. Examples are defense, banking, currency, foreign affairs. And state government list. State government has the power to make laws. For example, police, trade, agriculture, irrigation. And then concurrent list. What is the subject related to the both state and central list. So in this joint state government and central government together jointly made the laws. For example, education, forest department, trade activities, marriages, adaptation and succession to the trustees and etc. So what about subjects that are not fall in any three subjects means? What are they? Like subject or computer software. Huh? According to our constitution, union government has the power to make these all decisions under the residuary subjects. So we noted above that most federations that are formed by holding together do not give equal powers to its constituent units like our India. So as I discussed in our first class, so in India we are following holding together type of federation. Different levels of governments are there, but entire ultimate power organized with only central government. So thus all the states in the India Union do not have identical powers. Some states enjoy special status. So earlier is there but not now because Jammu and Kashmir has its own constitution. As you know, that article also abounded by our parliament. Article 378. And so that they have their own constitution and they have their own flag earlier, but now it is a part of our India as a union territory of India, so that there is no special status to Jammu and Kashmir now, but earlier is there. So that in our textbook they mention about the even Jammu and Kashmir comes under residual subject. That residual subjects final decision made by our union government. Many provisions of the Indian Constitution are not applicable to the state without the approval of the state assembly. Indians who are not permanent residents of this state cannot buy land or house here. Similar special provisions exist for some other states of India as well. These are some of the Indian Union territories which enjoy very little power. These are areas which are very small to become an independent state, but which could not be merged with any other existing states. So these areas like our Union territories, Chandigarh, Lakshadweep Islands and capital city of Delhi are called Union territories. These territories do not have powers of a state. The central government has special powers in running these areas. Union territories of India directly under the control of the central government. To announced as a state, these are not vast areas with little population. At the same time, these places are not accepted to include in any part of the Indian state. So that these parts under the direct rule of the central government, they are organized different a little bit more powers than the states, but under the control of the central government only, what we called as Union territories of India. Present our Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, two more Union territories added to our Indian Union territories list. This sharing of power between the Union government and the state government is the basic structure of the Constitution. It is not easy to make changes to this power sharing arrangement. Earlier we discussed 136 crore population in India. It is not an easy task to share power between the central government and state level governments. What else still is there? So some powers distributed between the organs. Now coming classes we are going to discuss about those. So the parliament cannot on its own change this arrangement. Any change to it has to be first passed by the both the houses of parliament with at least two-third majority. So as you know, so to pass any bill in parliament, how much majority we need? Two-third. So minimum two-third majority needed to pass any bill and to make the bill as an act. Then it has to be ratified by the legislature of at least half of the total states. Minimum two-third majority is needed. In that again half of the state legislature also have to be accept to pass any bill. The judiciary plays an important role in overseeing the implementation of constitutional provisions and procedure. What is the important main key player here? Judiciary system. Because our executives are changing and our representatives are changing for every 5 years, and different people takes place in parliament decision making power, so that overseeing about this entire procedure, the main power given to our judiciary system. So in case of any dispute about the divisions of powers, the High Court and the Supreme Court make decisions. The union and state governments have the power to raise resources by levying taxes in order to carry on the government and the responsibilities assigned to each of them. So, not only union government, other state government, even our judiciary system also played a very important role in a federal state, so that union government and state government given their own power to raise the sources of revenue, because now present our government need money. We are almost all, each and every family, even our state government or central government, we are under financial crisis now, so that we need certain amount. So different revenue sources will be identified by our present government, and they are following their own sources to get revenue. This is our horizontal distribution of power. Before we discussed about vertical distribution of power between central level, state level and local self-government. Now we are going to discuss about horizontal distribution of powers between executive department, legislature department and then judiciary department. Now I am going to explain each and every one. So executive department is consisting of a president, vice president and our cabinet ministers. Even in our state governments also, like our governor and then chief minister and then cabinet ministers together. What is the main role of these people? They are executives. Implementing law and order is done by executive department in the name of the president in national level, in the name of the governor in state level. What are the main responsibilities? Means to pass the laws made by the legislature. These people must have to accept the bill to made as any law. And then second one is legislature, administration. So our representatives of people takes place in legislature. So like our parliament in central level, like our state assembly in state level. So Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, two houses are there. Here Vidhana Sabha and Vidhana Parishad, two houses are there. So what is the main responsibility of the legislature? Means making laws. Means this our legislature department will make laws and our executive department will implement laws. Then these two okay. What about the judiciary system? Judiciary system consisting of our Supreme Court of India in apex level, national level, and High Court in state level. So what is the main role of the judiciary system? Whether this legislature department is made the proper laws or not, that laws are implemented properly or not, is we have to do give any suggestions to the central government or the state governments, or we have to modify any previous laws. These all the things are assigned to the judiciary system. So all our legislatures making laws or our executive department implementation procedure is supervised by our judiciary, is nothing but Supreme Court of India, apex level. This type of distribution of the powers we called as horizontal type of power distribution. So powers distributed between the organs. What is the first organ? Legislature. Second organ, executive. Third organ, judiciary system. Together we call as a horizontal power sharing. And vertical power sharing, union level, state level and local self-government. Okay, na student? Understood? Once we recall what we have completed in this session. Federalism in India refers to relations between the central and states of the Union of India. So the Constitution of India establishes structure of the Indian government. Part 11 of the Indian Constitution specifies the distribution of legislative, administrative and executive powers between the Union government and the states of India. Just now we discussed. So the legislative powers are categorized under union list, state list and concurrent list, representing respectively the powers conferred upon the union government, those conferred upon the state governments and powers shared among them. So finally, the federal government, the federalism is a symmetrical in that the devolved powers of the constituent units are envisioned to be the same. So federalism. So finally, federal government successfully running in our India, unitary form of government in India. We are following federal principles. In our constitution, they never mention about India is a federal country. And so this is children about our federalism. Why in India we adopted federalism. So how the powers distributed between the vertical powers and horizontal powers. In next coming classes we are going to discuss about on what basis we adopted federalism. Hari Om.